I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Logan Scheindelman, who was a 20-year-old biracial male from Olympia, Washington, who disappeared May the 19th, 2016. Okay, Logan's date of birth is June 27th, 1996. I have the planetary alignments in front of me of Logan's date of birth, where the planets were, and where the planets were aligned the day he disappeared. Okay, and then I am going to pull cards and align these cards with the charts that are pulled, and we're going to locate Logan Scheindelman, dead or alive. So, Logan was popular growing up in school. He was into sports. He was physically fit, but Logan suffered mental and emotional issues surrounding his ethnicity. He had a lot of racism issues in his life and questions around people who he thought were his friends. But it's like these people were jokingly talking about things that Logan didn't find funny. And we all go through that. We all have those people who joke about things that we really don't find funny. So he drifted away from these people. They used to joke about his ethnicity, about his black relatives, and his father was Saudi Arabian and his mother was white. Now, his step grandfather, who was with his grandmother, was black. So Logan's life was surrounded by different ethnicities, different races, in his family. So there were people that were joking about that. And he didn't find that funny. I wouldn't find it funny either, but this really bothered him. Like it affected his psyche, and then on top of that, he had a marijuana habit that, his grandmother talked about used to make him paranoid and feel like somebody was watching him through his window. Now, his last words to his grandmother, the last day she saw him, was, "I had an epiphany." He said he had an epiphany. And they were supposed to resume that conversation at a later date because his grandmother had to go to work, and so did Logan. So we do know that Logan had a job. Okay, and that's good to know because I can follow those dots in the chart too. Okay, so that was the last time his grandmother saw him. They never resumed that conversation. The following day, his grandmother pinged his phone and she saw that Logan's location was close to where his mother was going to school at and living at. Like she had moved. Logan's mother used to stay with them, but she wanted to further her education. Okay, so she can better take care of her children. So she left Logan and his stepsister, whatever, with the grandmother. And the mother went to another part of Washington to finish school. Now, Logan's phone pinged close to where his mother was staying at while she was going to school. So his grandmother didn't think nothing of it. She was like, okay, well, at least I know where he's at. He's going to see his mother, you know. But she called him. The grandmother called the mother, and the mother didn't hear from Logan. She's like, no, he's not coming to see me. So now we have a problem. So the grandmother calls the police, and she confirms Logan missing. She reports him missing. As soon as she called the police finds Logan's vehicle. That same day, they find Logan's vehicle, which was the following day after he disappeared. They find his vehicle on Interstate 5, on the expressway, pulled off to the side of the road next to the woods. Nobody was in the vehicle, but all of Logan's belongings were in his vehicle. It was a black 1996 Chrysler Sebring convertible. His phone, his wallet, everything was still in the vehicle. So, they took everything in for evidence. Now, there were eyewitnesses that called in saying that they saw a black car veering uh, through the lanes on the expressway, driving crazy. It went to the middle and it scraped against the divider. And then it veered over to the far right, over where the woods, where the car stopped. And they saw somebody get out the passenger side and run into the woods. Weird behavior was reported by eyewitnesses. Another eyewitness claimed that they saw Logan, somebody who fit the description of Logan, in front of that black car, standing standing beside two white men. And then that same eyewitness called the police back later on their way home from work, saying that the black car is still there with the hood up. So, did Logan encounter vehicle issues? Did he encounter vehicle issues? Let's pull his chart. The day Logan was born was June 27, 1996. The sun was in Cancer and the moon was in Scorpio. Now check this out. The day he vanished, the sun and the moon was in the same place. The sun was in Cancer and the moon was in Scorpio. Same exact alignment. You can't make this up. So that's a synchronicity that's going to be coming from one chart that is a fifth house chart, where Leo is rising. Because y'all know how I divide time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycles. So if you put the Scorpio moon inside of Cancer's house, which is the fourth house, see, there goes that Scorpio moon, and there goes Cancer's house. Leo comes first. Always look at what comes first, and then locate the person, the victim. Leo comes first. And guess what? Leo leads us directly to Logan because the sun is ruled by Leo. And the sun that day and the day Logan was born was in Cancer, right here in the 12th house. That's Pisces' house. That is the house of mental health, psyche issues, psychological issues. Okay? Because this is a case of a disappearance. This is not good news. So we have to look at the bad side of the 12th house, which is about hiding things. Logan was big on hiding the way he felt because Cancer rules the emotions, and Logan was a Cancer. Okay? Now, what type of emotions was he hiding? Let's follow the moon. The moon was in Scorpio the day Logan was born and the day he vanished. And Scorpio lands us right in Cancer's house, home and family. Now, these intense emotions that affected Logan's psyche comes from the home and the family. Okay? Now, when Scorpio is in the home and the family in a toxic situation, this could represent somebody who was sexually assaulted from a family member at a young age. Not saying that this happened to Logan, but this is what I'm looking at. Okay? Now, looking in the house of death, 8th house, that's Scorpio's house. I always look in the 8th house because that's going to let me know whether the person is dead or not, or whatever energies that I can follow that will give me clues to whether they are still alive or dead. Now, in the 8th house, which is Scorpio's house, I see Pisces. That is the energy of the house that Logan was born in, the 12th house. So if Logan is gone, we know he's missing. If he's gone, the energy surrounding his disappearance and death would be psyche issues, issues concerning his mental health psyche. He had an episode. Remember, he did have an epiphany. What was this epiphany? Whatever this epiphany was, is the source of his disappearance. Because the 8th house represents transition. How you transition from one stage of life to another, whether it's physical death or whether it's just transitioning from one phase of life to the next. The 8th house represents that. And Logan's energy of transition was Pisces energy. That is the energy of epiphanies, revelations, psychological issues, okay? Drugs and alcohol. But when it's in the 8th house of transition, this could mean a transition due to recovery. So that can be a good thing, but it can also be a death that came from drugs and alcohol, because that is what rules Pisces energy. Whatever happened to Logan is in this chart, because this is the chart of his birth and this is the chart of his disappearance. So we're going to stick to this chart right here. Now, I also see somebody from Logan went to college, by the way, too, but it didn't work out. You know, he met a lot of people because he was a popular person, but his grades were, so that didn't work out. He came back home from college and went back to live with his grandmother. And at the time, the grandmother had Logan's stepsister there with him, and her boyfriend was living there. And it was said that Logan and the boyfriend frequently got into confrontations. We don't know what those conversations were about, but I just had to bring that up because I also see somebody from Logan's college that's in the energy of this chart, and that's Aries in the ninth house. Why is that important? I just seen 1111 on the screen. Why is that important? Because Mars rules Aries. Okay, and Mars was in Sagittarius the day Logan disappeared. And look at Sagittarius right there in the fifth house. And this is a fifth house chart. Logan is a fifth house baby, and he has a fifth house disappearance. The fifth house is the house of romance. Okay, the fifth house is the house of recreation. Okay, it is the house of creativity, theater. Okay, it is the house of playful activities, love, romance, parties, special events. Did Logan go to a party or a special event and something happened at that special event? Was this special event somebody from his college invited him to a special event or a party that he went to, and he got high, so high that he couldn't think straight, and met up with some other people and then met with foul play? Because if that's the case, we have to look inside of the 11th house, which represents groups, gangs, organizations. Why? Because his car was found on the road, and the road is right here in the 11th house in Gemini, and that's where Logan's Venus is. That's also where Logan's Mercury is. And that's also where Mars was. Logan's Mars is right here on the road in Gemini, in the house of groups, gangs, organizations, fraternities, sororities. Okay? So Logan wasn't alone during these travels. He was not alone. And one of these individuals, he was in a particular one-on-one significant other relationship with. Why? Because this is Aquarius's house. And look where Aquarius is, in the seventh house of relationships. So one of these people wasn't just a friend. This was somebody that Logan was fucking around with. Because look at Aquarius right there in the seventh house of relationships. And where was Libra? Because this is Libra's house. Libra is right there in the third house, traveling with Logan, the person he was traveling with. So there's a lot of people that know something about Logan's disappearance. So let's get to the body. We know where your car is, Logan. Where is your body? The lost and found. Where is Logan's body? Everything that happened to Logan is in this 1/5 house chart. Where is your body, Logan? Where is your body, Logan? We know where your vehicle is. Show us where your body is. I feel like when they pinged his phone, because the police took his phone as evidence as well. So not only did his grandmother ping his phone, but the police did too. And I feel like it's in those phone records where his body's located at. When she thought when the grandmother thought that Logan was going to see his mother with his phone pinged, that I believe that Logan was already dead that day. And that is where they placed his body. But they took whoever drove his car back to where the police found his car. I don't believe Logan was the one that drove the car back to where it was found at on the expressway. I believe it was the person that hid Logan's body in that location where his grandmother pinged his phone, where she thought that he was going to see his mother. Where's your body, Logan? Fire and destruction in the fourth house. So his body was destroyed. Now, in the fourth house is where you see Scorpio. That's the energy of death. Remember? So, Pluto rules Scorpio. Okay, now this is home and family. So this could have been somebody he knew that he was with. Somebody, whoever was surrounded with Logan when he disappeared, this is somebody that he knew. And this is somebody that his family knows. Fire and destruction could mean that they destroyed his body on fire, or this could also mean gunfire as well, that he was shot. Where's Pluto at? Mars rules Scorpio too. So it happened on the road. But where was Pluto at? Because Pluto was Scorpio first. Pluto, the day Logan vanished, was in Capricorn. And Capricorn is right here in Virgo's house. Capricorn is the authority figure. But when the authority figure is in Virgo's house, which is the house of the workforce, this is the boss. This authority figure is the boss. If Capricorn was in the fourth house, it would be the father. But this is the boss. This is the boss. Logan did have a job. Now, this boss could also know Logan's mother, because the fourth house is the house of home, family, and the mother. So I feel like his mother knows too what may have happened to Logan. She knows the person that Logan may have been with. Now, let's follow Saturn to elaborate on Capricorn being found in the house of the workforce, which is the boss. Saturn was in Sagittarius the day Logan vanished. And Pluto, which rules the fourth house, this fire and destruction, Logan's Pluto is in Sagittarius. So this is somebody from the college, because Sagittarius rules the ninth house where Aries is at. Remember I told you, this is that college student that I saw in the energy. And this is Sagittarius. This is the person that was at the party. Who did this to you, Logan? Who did this to you, Logan? Who's responsible for your death, Logan? We know he's gone. It's been 9 years. Nobody has heard from Logan or seen him. We know he probably wanted to get away, but that's most likely Logan is gone. I'm going to call it as I see it. Because you even have people that are on a part of this investigation that are not even calling it, and it's staring them in the face. So I'm going to call it as I see it. They're not calling what they look at. And just because you look at something don't mean you can see it. I can see things, and I'm calling it as I see it. Logan is gone. Now, who's responsible for your death, Logan? This card right here that I'm going to pull is who's responsible for Logan's death. A staff member in the 12th house. The 6th house is a staff member. Remember I told you, Capricorn in the 5th house. Capricorn in the 6th house is the boss, right? Now, a staff member, look, in the 12th house is where Logan is at. His staff member, somebody he was working for in the 12th house, his staff member, somebody he was working for, this Capricorn energy in the 6th house, this boss, they need to question his boss, whoever he was working for. They need to question. And I feel like this person also knows his mother, because looking in Capricorn's house, you see Scorpio in the mother's house, not Capricorn's house, in the mother's house, the 4th house of home and family, which is where this fire and destruction came out. Did his boss kill him? His boss came out of the who dat. But I also see his boss in the chart. That's in his birth energy and the energy of his disappearance. Evidence. 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 Logan Scheindelman evidence of his death and disappearance. Evidence of Logan Scheindelman's death and disappearance. That is the card that I am pursuing. Evidence of Logan's death and disappearance. Look at that. You can't make this shit up. A place in the 12th house. That's that. It's a place in that local environment. A place that his boss knows of. It could be the house. His boss's house. But it can also be somebody from his family too. Because all of this leads to family as well. Because look, the 4th house is the house of home and family. Somebody in his family might be responsible. The 12th house, what do you see in the 12th house? Both of these cards are from 2 different decks. And they're both 12th house cards. What do you see in the 12th house? Cancer, the home and family. And Cancer rules the 4th house. Somebody in Logan's family is responsible. And this is somebody that was most likely helping him. A father figure. A boss figure. Because the authority figure came out in the house of work. It came out in the house of work. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below. But that's my reading and my story on Logan Scheindelman, and I'm sticking to it. Somebody knows. They need to question whoever Logan was working for. They need to question who he was working for. And that's when they're going to find out where Logan's body is. Rest in peace, Logan Scheindelman.